August 8th, 2017. Welcome podcast. And trying to get the links going. Okay. All right, now we got it. So welcome. Couple things I wanted to get in some talk about training camp. There was a unofficial depth chart released today. Use as you guys saw on my Instagram, there's some trade reports lingering. I addressed it a little bit yesterday. Talk about it more in depth today. We'll also talk about the Phillies and how Eflin's going to come up back up, pitch the game tonight, and then how they're start trying Rhys Hoskins out in left field, and then a couple other things, and then that we will be out. So let's get started with Jordan Matthews. And I said a couple weeks ago that there is a chance that Jordan Matthews will get traded. There is a chance that Jordan Matthews will get traded. Maybe for a corner. I mean, his contract is running out. Hold on, I need to tell my sister to shut up. They never listen. Okay, so back to the conversation. I said a couple weeks ago there's a chance that Jordan Matthews will get traded. And this was 2 weeks ago. I posted it. I did a video about it. Got a lot of heat for it. People took it as I was saying Jordan Matthews should get traded. Jordan Matthews, totally disagree. Jordan Matthews has been there. Was quite. I mean, he kind of helped start Carson Wentz's career. He was that receiver that caught his first pass. He was probably the most reliable wide receiver on the team last year. Now, you compare him to what Aguilar did last year. And I know Aguilar was having a good training camp. But as of right now, I want to start Jordan Matthews. Or at least I want to have him on the roster. If he outplays Aguilar in practice and in the preseason games, I'll give him the start. But I want to keep Matthews on the roster. Plus, you still have one more year with him. We'll worry about what we want to do next year with him when the season ends. But as of right now, I know the Eagles are desperate for a cornerback. I know that they're desperate to bring in a guy, to help to fill that void. But if you want to think, listen, this is Carson Wentz's and Doug Peterson's second year. There's still a little bit more learning to be done. There's still a little bit more to find out. I'd say live with what you got this year. Try and make a playoff, and then put the pieces together next year. If Matthews is here next year, and Matthews not here the next year, well, then that's that. But they got to get something good for him if they were to trade him. Okay, so I mean, I want him to thrive. I want him to play in the slot. I mean, I want him to. I want to see him and Aguilar in the slot. And on this depth chart that I'm going to show you guys in a couple minutes and talk to you guys about for Thursday's game, Matthews is starting over Aguilar in the slot. He's proven that he can. He has 225 catches for 2,673 yards, 19 touchdowns in his first 3 seasons, and that was in the slot. In my opinion, I mean, this is a guy you need to help grow Carson Wentz. I mean, I feel like if Carson Wentz has that receiver that kind of for the first couple 3 years, 2, 3, 4 years with him, that like kind of was with him at the beginning, and they moved 3 or 4 years. I mean, that's going to set a good foundation because Matthews can then explain to the other receivers, and you could throw Ertz in that mix too, of what kind of routes that Wentz likes, what kind of like how you read the ball out of his hand, stuff like that. So, I mean, this is a guy that you really need for this year. This is a crucial year for Carson Wentz because it's his second year. He has more weapons. Lane Johnson's not suspended 10 games. So hopefully, and then if nothing goes wrong, you can have Jason Peters on the line too, which can help him. And then if he proves that he sets up a good chemistry with Jeffrey Smith, and then whoever else is there, I mean, then the Eagles can move forward. Then the Eagles can, compete, I guess. But if you're going to get a corner for Jordan Matthews, it has to be a very good corner. And I was just listening to Missinelli. That's a rarity, me listening to Missinelli. And he said that who is going to give up a good corner, which is a hot commodity in the league. If you have a good corner, you are not going to give him up. Because this is such a pass-friendly league. And there are so many good receivers and so many good quarterbacks that have connections. And why would you want to give up that corner? So, I mean, that's that. So, if you're going to get rid of Matthews, you're going to have to get a very good player and not a 7th-round pick. You're not going to have to. Don't get a 7th-round pick for a very decent or very good slot receiver. So, I mean, if the Eagles were to do that, I think it'd be probably one of the dumbest moves, and would probably be one of the things that we can look at. We can look at the end of the year and say they didn't do that trade, then it would have been a much different outcome. The whole point of the season is to have Wentz in the offense, have Wentz build a chemistry with Jeffrey and Smith. Use those weapons effectively, including Blunt, and then try and make a playoff spot. I understand that they want to get a corner and fill that void, but don't rush it. This is still we're still in the process here. We're still in the process, and we've heard that way too much over the last year and a half. But they are still in the process. The process, like I said, the process doesn't end till you have a ring. I guess in the Eagles case. Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, I think for every team, process doesn't end unless you have a ring. So, in my opinion, they got to get Matthews off the trading block if they were thinking about it. Then you get into a whole nother question if they can afford him. Let's see. Entering the 2018 season, they are projected to be $17 million over the salary cap. His value following this season is $50.138 million over 5 years. $10 million per season. So that's going to be a tough one. That's going to be a very tough one. So they're going to have to figure what they're going to have to do. I mean, it's not, at least the Eagles are not in what the Giants are, because they have to figure out what they're going to do, because Collins and Beckham are going to be free agents at the end of the year. And plus, you throw in the $2 million defense, and then they put Pierre-Paul in the salary cap. So, I mean, it's not bad compared to that, but I mean, we'll see what happens. They still haven't played the first preseason game. They still haven't played, we're not in the regular season yet, so we'll see where that goes. I mean, we'll have to see where that goes. We're going to learn a lot more as we get to the preseason games, with the preseason games. But then you have a little bit of I have a little bit of a beacon of trust with Howie Roseman, because he knows that he can make the trades late in training camp, late in the preseason, that work out. I mean, there was really only one, but who knows? We don't know. If they want to get a corner, I mean, I really don't think they'll get a corner. I think they'll just have to play the year with Matthews. And if they want to trade a corner, they're going to have to trade for him for a corner. I mean, they're just going to have to trade come season's end. And, we have to see where things go with Jeffrey and Smith, a couple other players. So that's that. All right, let's check the live chat. No, there's no one on. This is the worst. Oh, you got a fear. Okay. All right, so training camp today. 14th day of training camp practice. The Eagles had a late 10-10-10 practice today. Update: Alshon Jeffrey with that shoulder. I don't think he's going to probably get a little bit of. I don't think he's going to get playing time in the preseason game. Cox is resting. Torrey Smith his groin's bothering him. John Marcus Johnson has a hamstring issue. Pumphrey has a hamstring issue. I don't care about that guy. Brandon Brooks sprained ankle. He left yesterday. Left practice early yesterday. Nick Foles has an elbow. We know that. Wendell Smallwood has a hamstring. And that's pretty much the only important ones. Wentz did not get excessive today since it was a light practice, but he was solid and limited reps. So, I mean, that's good. He's having a very good training camp. The thing is with Wentz, with the preseason games, you want to give him those opportunities. You want to have him play maybe give him a couple possessions, early in the ball game, and we'll see how he does there. And then that'll be that. Apparently connected with Ertz on a number of throws in the middle. Hurts made a nice one-handed reception, so it's always nice to see. And then Russell Douglas almost picked off a Wentz pass, so that shows you he's wanting to play a little bit. Aguilar and Smith lined up on the outside during the first snap of 10 and 11 on 11. The receiver in the slot, that would be Marcus Johnson. Eagles are clearly rotating the receivers around, but it's still an interesting look given the speculation that Matthews could lose playing time. And then Aguilar made a couple nice catches. And then there's a lot more. And those are the big ones. So that's the training camp report for today. Here's a depth chart. The Bleeding Green Nation, the website that this is put on, and it came out today. So offense, quarterback Wentz, running back, it's Blunt, Sproles, Smallwood, Pumphrey, Byron Marshall, Corey Clement, Ryan Matthews. On the outside, Jeffrey, Marcus Johnson, Sheldon Gibson. Another receiver on the outside, Smith, Hollins, Watford. Slot, Matthews, Aguilar, Treggs, Ward, Turner. Tight end, Ertz, Selleck, Burton, Billy Brown, Anthony Denham, Adam Zerbu. I don't know, I can't pronounce the name. Left tackle, Peters, Dylan Gordon, and then you have Matt Tobin, who shouldn't even be on the roster. I cannot stand him. Left guard, Malo, Warmack, Dallas Thomas. Center, Kelsey, Wisniewski, Aaron Nearly, Tyler. I'm awful with names. Right guard, Brandon Brooks, Josh Andrews, Darrell Green. Defense. Oh, damn fucking timer. Oh, right tackle is Lane Johnson, Big V, Taylor Hart. Defense. Brandon Graham. Defensive end, Brandon Graham, Chris Long, Alex McAllister. Another defensive end, Vinny Curry, Derek Barnett. Derek Barnett is on the first round pick on the second team. And then you have Steven Means. Defensive tackle, Cox, Destiny Vio, Gabe Wright, Winston Craig. Defensive tackle, Jerrigan, Hamilton, Qualls, Bo Allen. Then you have Michael Kendricks, outside linebacker, who is now on the first team with Nathan Cherry and Camus Kruger-Hill. Another one is Bradham, Najee Good, Don Cherry. And then the middle linebacker is obviously Jordan Hicks, Joe Walker, Stephen Daniels. Then you have the quarterbacks, Mills, Douglas, Grimes, and Boneheads. Stupid players. Another corner, they got Patrick Robinson, then Ron Brooks, C.J. Smith, and then they'll throw in Sidney Jones on that one. And then safety, Jenkins, Brooks, Trey Sullivan, safety, McLeod, Graham, Jalen Watkins, and Maragos. Special teams, we all know punter, Jones, kicker, Sturgis, all that stuff. And the kick returner is supposed to be, it's either Smallwood, Aguilar, or Pumphrey. And then obviously the punt returner is Sproles. So big things from that is Douglas is on the second team. Patrick Robinson is a first team player. Who else? Barnett is a second team player. Maybe this is a learning thing. What else? Then you have the Matthews Aguilar thing. So we'll see where that goes. There still is a chance that Aguilar could play, who could be the number one slot guy in come week 1. So we'll see where that goes. So that's the depth chart for the Packer game, which will be on Thursday night. Okay. So we did the depth chart. We did the whole Jordan Matthews thing. We did the training camp report. I made a little list. Now we're gonna get into one more football thing for today, and has to do with one of our lovely friends, Colin Kaepernick. All right, so now Spike Lee, who's he's a New York fan. He's probably one of the biggest celebrity New York fans out there. He's famous for the Knicks. He's a big Knick guy. He's always on the friggin' he's all on the court side, just going nuts. So in New York, there's going to be a rally outside the NFL headquarters for Colin Kaepernick. Now, I don't want to get political here. I mean, this is just absolutely pathetic. Colin Kaepernick is not a good quarterback. No NFL owner or no NFL team has to sign him. They have the option whether they want to sign him or not. I mean, I think a lot of NFL owners were kind of turned off when they decided to sit down for the anthem. On a personal note, if I were an owner or head coach, and you sat down for the national anthem, the song that represents our country and the people that have died, and the men and women who have died for our freedom, and you just sit down on it, that is just. I mean, I know. Listen, I know he has a lot of issues, political issues, that he's very strong with. But don't do it in a way that it hurts our veterans. It hurts. It disrespects our country, and it was just stupid. Or do something else. Now you have Malcolm Jenkins opening his mouth. I mean, listen, no NFL owner. No, I mean, like I think I think it'd be very stupid if it comes to where Goodell wants to just shut these guys up and tell an owner they have to sign Kaepernick. No one has to sign Kaepernick. No one. He's not even that good. He's a free agent because he sucks. He's not a free agent because of his political views. I don't care what your political views are. I want to win. I mean, if you sit for the anthem, I mean, that's just. I mean, I'm gonna fucking. I mean, you're not gonna be on my team, but I mean, it's just stupid. These people are sore losers. This goes back to the election. These people are sore losers. You have to learn. They can't get their way every single time. They can't. Just because a player, just because no NFL owners don't want to sign a player that disrespects our country and is not even that good to sign him. And now you're going to go to protest out in front of the NFL headquarters. I mean, it's just so stupid. It's so stupid. Strike one is disrespecting the country, and then it leads to strike three. Like, skip strike two, strike three if you're not a good football player. Go play Canadian football. They'll pay, and you might be good in that league. Don't play here. He was only good when he was horrible. That was the only time he was good. He's shit. I mean, he had a couple decent years, but it wasn't like the years with Harbaugh. My dad thinks that he would have got cut if he didn't start this political shit. And now they got rid of Chip Kelly. San Fran got rid of Chip Kelly, and he's not even that good of a quarterback anymore. He wasn't even that good after Harbaugh left. It was bad with Tom Sewell, and he was bad with Chip Kelly. And I think the last couple years with Harbaugh, he was not good. It was all a big fuss show. It was a big fuss show for him not to get cut. That he put on. I do not want to see him wear a uniform in the league. The only way you're going to get a uniform in the league is if you work and you get better. But after what happened last year, I don't think any owner would want to take him. Because people, they just want to be lazy. You can't stand 2 minutes. You can't stand 30, 45 seconds for a song. Because it doesn't comprehend with your beliefs. You see the baseball players, the Hispanic players, stand for our anthem. The Canadian players, the Japanese players in baseball. You see them stand for our anthem. Why can't you? You live here. You were born here. Just stupid. I mean, Colin Kaepernick is just stupid, and I don't want to see his face. Oh my God. So we're getting a little bit. So now that's that with our football for today, and then now we'll move into baseball. So the Phillies are calling up Eflin tonight against Atlanta. Eflin pitched his last game on May 28th against the Reds, where they hit 5 home runs. I was at that game. So we'll see how that goes. I mean, he did not pitch well with his first stint up here tonight or season. So we'll see how that plays out. Then we'll move. Then they're playing the Braves, who twice to them. They've only lost twice to the Braves, and the 2 times where they've lost to the Braves was in Atlanta. I mean, and then obviously the last time we played them, we swept them 4 games, and that was last weekend. They have not won a game at Citizens Bank Park this year. But now we go down to SunTrust. This year, Eflin is 0-3, 6.13 ERA, 8 games. Started all 8 of them, 47 innings pitched. I mean, hopefully, he has a chance to bounce back a little bit. So we'll see where that goes. And then Julio Teheran, starting for the Atlanta Braves, he's 7-9, with Let's see this. Tehran is 7-9. Oh, come on. Let's go. Let's load. 5-10 ERA, so we'll see where that goes. Phillies are obviously won the game. On Sunday, off day yesterday. So this is the first game. This is the first game they'll play without Dutch, I guess. Dutch being alive. So they might be playing with a little bit more motivation tonight. Tomorrow, in the Thursday, in the weekend, alumni weekend, it's gonna be a special weekend. So yeah, and then like I said earlier in the show, another Phillies thing is that they are starting. They're putting Rhys Hoskins in left field. Now, I think they played him in left field last night. Let's see. I mean, so that way they're able to keep Joseph. Now, I mean, that means Hoskins is. I mean, I think Hoskins. He's tearing it up in AAA. I mean, I think he should already be here by now, but he's a first baseman, and now they're going to start him at a little bit of left field. Problem is, I mean, you have Altair, Nick Williams. Now he could probably beat out one of. I think he'll probably beat out Altair personally, but because you need Williams playing great. Is probably should be the leader. I mean, he has to grow a little bit of discipline, in my opinion. But I mean, we'll see how this goes. I mean, I think I don't want to. I mean, now if the Phillies were an AL team, I mean, this would be a much different situation because they would bring him up and he would be at the DH. But that's not the case. They started him at left field. Last night, I think. 4 putouts, no errors over 9 innings. Went 2 for 5, 85th RBI on the season. That's very good. And then he's in 281, 27 home runs, 23 doubles, 64 walks, and that's tied for the most with J.P. Crawford, who is heating up. He is I think he won the Player of the Month for July. For the Phillies prospects. So, I mean, we're starting to see Crawford heating up. I mean, we don't know where that's going to be, where that's going to go with the shortstop position. We'll see that in September when you see Hoskins and Crawford and all these guys come up and make their debuts. So, Phillies versus Braves tonight. Tehran versus Eflin. Eflin's first start since the 28th of May in the big leagues. Let's move to some MLB talk. MLB. I haven't really talked about the MLB as a whole lately. Let's see the standings. Let's look at the standings. Standings in a minute. 2017 regular season standings. My God, craziness in the house. Oh my God, whatever. All right, whatever. We'll move. All right, let's do the standings. So Boston, the Red Sox. We'll start with the AL East. Boston has a 3-game lead over the Yankees. And then you have Tampa Bay 5.5. They're 5.5 out after New York. Baltimore 7. Toronto 10.5. Toronto, I give the first 4 teams. It's going to be a down of the wire battle with Boston, Yankees, Tampa Bay, Baltimore. I don't really see Toronto in it. I think they're not the same with Encarnacion. They are not the same without him. Without Encarnacion. Central, it's Cleveland, KC. The difference between between Cleveland and Kansas City is Cleveland is ahead by 3 games. Here's another tight one: Minnesota 5.5, and then Detroit is just they're done. They're 9 games out, and the White Sox are just absolutely garbage. 18 games, and then Houston. It's not even a battle here. It's Houston 15 games over Seattle. So Seattle's a game above 500. Houston is just absolutely destroying the AL West. And then you move to the National League. We'll start with the National League West with the Dodgers, 79-32, 15.5 games ahead of the Colorado Rockies, who are 64-48. Arizona is 63-48. So you compare their records to this other second and third place teams in the National League. It looks like they are going to be the 2 teams that are going to take the wild card. The NL West is going to be well represented in the playoffs. The only real threat is Milwaukee, who is about 5 games behind Colorado and Arizona. Then in that division, you have the Cubs and the Brewers. That's going to be a down-to-the-wire battle for that division. But don't count out the Cardinals. They are 3.5 games out. And then Pittsburgh is 4.5 games out. And then Cincinnati's way out of it. Which is Washington taking over 14 game lead over the Dolphins. The Marlins. Then you have Atlanta, third place. They're 11.5. The Mets, who are just falling apart by the minute, 13, and then you have us, who's 22 games out. So that's the standings. Dodgers are going to get the number. They're going to be the number 1 team. They're going to be the number 1 team in the league. In the NL. Astros are the number 1 team in the AL. I like to see that World Series. I'll either like to see Dodgers, Astros, or Dodgers, Yankees. Dodgers, Yankees would probably be pretty cool because 2 New York teams. It'd be like 1955 throughout the 50s, and all the other times around in the 50s where it was Brooklyn, New York versus the Yankees. Dodgers versus the Yankees. That'd be cool. That'd be a nice classic World Series. But Yankees are, they're having a little bit of trouble with dealing with the Red Sox in the AL East. So we'll see where that goes. So I pretty much covered the bases today. It was still kind of boring. There's a lot of craziness in the house. I'm sorry about that. So have a good one. We'll talk more stuff tomorrow. Talk more football. Pretty soon. We'll be talking about the Sixers schedule as that moves. All right. Thanks for tuning in. See you guys tomorrow. I think the new time is going to probably be 2:30. Because it's kind of fitting well. I'm kind of just eager to do the podcast at that time. I know we don't really get a lot of viewers at that during this time of day, but I'm just trying new things. I'm trying to go every day. This is the time of day that I can do it. And then once the week of Labor Day, we're going to start at probably 3:30 or 4. So just kind of wait. We'll just stay tuned. So the week of Labor Day, we're going to start around 3:34. We're going to move back, obviously because school starts. And I still, we'll figure that out as time moves. So thanks for tuning in. This is the Philly podcast. Well, we're gonna go. Bye.